Welcome on the channel Voices of Reddit. Today we have an intriguing story about the
I know how the title sounds, but please bear with me. My name is Mark. I am a 24-year-old man, and my wife Emily, also 24, and I recently welcomed our beautiful daughter Lily into the world this past July. She is the best thing that has ever happened to us, and we couldn't be more thrilled to have our little bundle of joy. However, a situation with my in-laws has escalated beyond anything we could have imagined, and I need to share this story to understand if I am truly in the wrong. My in-laws, Susan and Robert, are deeply involved with a product called LifeWaves-39. It's a patch that supposedly helps regrow stem cells by reflecting light rays back into your body, allowing your body to produce more stem cells to fight off diseases and illnesses. To me, it sounds like snake oil, and Emily agrees, calling it a pyramid scheme. The only way to obtain these patches is by spending well over $8,000, and then you're expected to sell the patches yourself. It's essentially a multi-level marketing product where the more patches you sell, the more money you make, fitting right in with Emily's comparison to a pyramid scheme. I've tried researching Sinus 39, and the only positive comments I found are from brand new accounts that have never been used before or from profiles entirely dedicated to promoting LifeWaves Sinus 39. In my research, they appear to be nothing more than overpriced stickers. They contain no medication, no special UV rays, or anything of the sort. They're literally just overpriced stickers within their bubble. Emily and I have made it very clear that we want no part in Minus 39, nor do we want our daughter to have anything to do with it. Even if it's fake, we don't want to be associated with it, and on the off chance it does something harmful, we don't want Lily to be used as their lab rat or guinea pig. A few weeks ago, Emily and I had to take a work trip, and we left Lily with Susan and Robert. Before we left, we provided them with some infant medication, just in case she got sick. You can never be too safe. Well, during our trip, Lily became ill while staying with her grandparents. We decided to return home early because she wasn't getting any better, so we picked her up and brought her home. When we arrived, Susan and Robert seemed a bit evasive, but we were to focus on Lily's well-being to pay much attention. Once home, we prepared to give her a bath. In the process of taking off her little jacket, we discovered an Minus 39 patch on her arm. Upon finding it, we were furious. We immediately called Susan and Robert and demanded to know why she had a patch on her. They tried to justify it by saying, "It's safe for babies." We even ordered the ones for ages 7 and younger. It's practically medication, but that still didn't answer our question as to why they went against our explicit wishes. Emily checked the go bag we had left with them, and while the infant Mitrin we provided had been used, it was hardly touched. Instead of giving our daughter actual medication when she was sick, they relied on this placebo patch. They claimed that someone else in their group had given it to their son, and it got better in a week. We didn't buy it, nor did we care. We had made it abundantly clear that we wanted nothing to do with Minus 39, and we didn't want Lily to be a part of it. They failed to listen. Emily was on the phone with them for over an hour, and while I don't know the exact length the conversation went on, I know it at least ended with her screaming, "You're never going to see my daughter again, and if you attempt to come to our house, we will call the police," before hanging up. That was 3 days ago. Since then, we've had several missed calls from family members, her parents, her siblings, and even family friends, all saying that we overreacted and that they were just trying to help. Maybe we did overreact, but we wanted nothing to do with that pseudoscience, and despite making it clear, they went against our wishes and did it anyway. Instead of giving our daughter actual medication, they tried to give her some placebo patch. Her parents tried claiming that we're stopping them from seeing their only grandchild over something so small, but we didn't want to hear it. In the following days, things quieted down a bit. We started having my sister watch Lily instead when we had to work. We hadn't had another out-of-town trip since then. We thought things were probably, hopefully, going to end there, but we were wrong. About 2 weeks later, we were visited by Child Protective Services after they received concerning calls about supposed child abuse and neglect within our household. Of course, nothing like that was happening, and the caseworker was quick to see that. We asked her to report it us, and while she couldn't say, we suspected it was Susan and Robert. We were completely cooperative with the caseworker. After she left that night, Emily called her mother and asked if she was the one who called CPS. Surprisingly, Susan took full responsibility, but not so surprisingly, tried to spin it in her favor, claiming that she did it for our own good, because Lily was sick and wasn't getting any better when she was with them. So clearly, we were doing something awful as parents. Our daughter had a common cold. Kids get sick, it happens, but they are extreme. Anti-vaxxers are just against COVID-19 vaccines. But everything, even something as routine as the flu shot, yet they're willing to spend thousands of dollars on some supposed stem cell regeneration sticker. The hypocrisy and irony in their beliefs are unmatched. Emily didn't know how to react to that, so she told her mom to never contact us again and said she wanted nothing to do with them. I know some people might think we shouldn't have cut them out entirely, but now I'm starting to question why we didn't cut them out years ago, before Lily was even a thought in our minds. About a week after the first visit from CPS, Susan showed up at our house on my day off while Emily was at work. She essentially demanded to see Lily, forcing her way into our home by pushing past me at the front door. When I told her to get out of my house, that she had no business barging in like that, she told me that I was unfit to be a parent because I was depriving my daughter of the help she desperately needed because she was clearly a very sick child. Our daughter was perfectly healthy at this point, no stuffy nose, no fever, nothing. I told Susan straight up that she was being unreasonable. I went off on her about how she lied to us, went against our wishes, had the audacity to call and lie to CPS, and then show up at our house unannounced and uninvited, and march herself inside. I confronted her about everything, including her obsession with the -39 LifeWave nonsense. We argued for a while before I finally became so fed up that I told her to leave my house before I called the police. She stormed out and in true dramatic fashion said, "This isn't over," before slamming the door. I immediately called Emily, who was, of course, irate. The following morning, we filed a restraining order against her parents because they were clearly not in their right minds. The CPS caseworker had to visit us a few more times over the next 2 weeks, and eventually, she informed us that we were doing well and that she was sorry for the trouble they caused. We kept her updated on the LifeWave situation, the unannounced visit, and the restraining order. Though she couldn't officially take sides, she seemed sympathetic. Emily and I were livid. We started looking at houses in another state to get as far away from her parents as possible. Our company has offices out there, so it was entirely possible we could be transferred. We were crossing our fingers that all would go well, that the restraining order would be enforced, and that we would get a place clear across the country. After my in-laws called CPS on us, things mostly quieted down. Some people suggested we should do more than just get a restraining order. So we bought security cameras and had them installed around our property. Our neighbors, who are good friends, were in the loop, and anytime we had to go somewhere, not only did we have video cameras recording anyone entering our driveway, but our neighbors also kept us updated. They stopped coming around for the first few months after calling CPS on us, but just the month before last, as we were preparing to move, Susan and Robert somehow got word that we planned on moving states and attempted to block our driveway as Robert tried blocking the front door. Not sure what their plan was there, because we have a back door and a side door leading from the kitchen. But I digress. Susan blocked the driveway, preventing our moving truck and car from leaving the property, and wouldn't budge. Even after we told them we would call the police, they told us they would move if we told them where we were moving to. But Emily told them that was not happening, and they had 10 minutes to leave or we would call the police. Our neighbor came over during the commotion, but they still wouldn't budge. Lily was crying during all of this, as Emily was trying to console her, while our neighbor and I were attempting to remove Robert from the doorway, but he wouldn't move. Eventually, Emily called the police, and I believe another neighbor did as well because they responded within minutes. My in-laws kept screaming that we were taking their rightful grandchild away and that we would all be damned for this. But honestly, that just made me more resolute. The police kept asking them to leave, but they refused. Eventually, they were arrested for refusing to leave, and the police were kind enough to call a tow truck so we could back out of the driveway. As the police were handcuffing Susan and Robert, they both had on those -39 patches, and even the police questioned them about it. But whatever, what is done is done. We were finally able to leave and move on to new adventures. We've been settled in at our new house for over a month, and we're enjoying it greatly. No word from her parents, and they have no idea where we are. We have them blocked, but we occasionally get messages from unknown numbers or Facebook accounts asking where we moved. but there's no way we're that foolish to tell them. Luckily, neither our last state nor this one has any grandparents' rights laws that would affect us, so we're in the clear there. About 4.5 months ago, we moved clear across the country to avoid Susan and Robert, and I'm happy to say that, beyond some annoying phone calls from different numbers and messages on social media, things were quiet. I thought that would be the end of it, but unfortunately, there's more. Over a month ago, we were informed by authorities that Susan and Robert were involved in a tragic incident at our former home. In their misguided determination, they somehow convinced themselves that we never actually moved. After not getting any responses from us, they broke into our previous house, intending to take Lily. The new homeowners were awake when Susan and Robert broke into what was once Lily's room, which was now the homeowner's child's room. Fearing for their child's safety, the homeowners acted in self-defense. In the ensuing confrontation, Robert was fatally injured, and Susan later succumbed to her injuries at the hospital. I don't have all the details. These are just what I was able to piece together from the police report and information from our old neighbor. Emily is in shock and isn't quite sure how to handle the news. She told me that while she's relieved that our daughter is finally safe from their interference, she never wanted it to end this way. After we got the news, we just Saturday on the couch, and I comforted her all night until we both eventually fell asleep there. She's grappling with a mix of emotions, relief, sadness, and disbelief. We're also grateful that the current homeowners and their child are okay. Emily is shaken, worried that if we hadn't moved, things could have been much worse. I told her there's no use worrying about the what-ifs because what's done is done, and at least we're safe now. She agreed, but I can tell she's still trying to process everything. We've started seeing a therapist to help us navigate through this difficult time, and the therapist suggested taking a vacation. I recently purchased tickets to Hawaii and surprised Emily with them this weekend as a much-needed getaway. She's always dreamed of going to Hawaii. She was ecstatic when I showed her the tickets, and she's genuinely excited about the trip. I'm hoping this vacation is just what she needs to help her heal and find some peace. I feel awful knowing that Emily is unsure where to go from here, and I'm doing my best to support her. I'm thankful that we have professional help to guide us through this. If anyone is curious, we're doing okay. We're just taking it one day at a time. So, am I the bad person for not allowing my in-laws to see my daughter after they gave her medication?